Okay, this video is intended to talk you through a student sample of an expository essay. I want to talk about the choices this writer made, um, why it works. I did not pick a perfect essay. No essay is perfect. Writing is never done, it's just do. But I picked an essay that is about a unique topic that somebody knows well, where they can tell us what we don't already know, where they're able to treat the topic like it's complex, like it's got layers, like there's some depth to it. Um, and this writer just did some things that I think first year composition writers should strive to do. So first of all, Here Come the Bills. That's a play on the phrase uh, uh, Here Come the Bells, which is referencing the wedding song. It gives a hint what the essay is about, but it is not a topic title. Um, Topic titles are a bad idea. This essay is about why Americans spend so much on weddings, the phenomenon of big weddings, and especially expensive weddings. You don't want your title to be just a statement of your topic that's lazy. You want something creative, and this is a great example of that creativity. I have another video on how to create a creative title. Um, the writer begins with a question that is also dialogue. So it's actually combining two of the introductory strategies I talked about, which was using a question, but also capturing some speech that was really emblematic or symbolic, um, that really represented well the topic and engaged us. Are you going to have a big wedding? The query aunts, grandmas, cousins, and church ladies all posed immediately after they had congratulated me on my engagement still haunts today. So this writer is taking the moment that she was first asked about, are you going to have a big wedding? Um, and exploding it and explaining it and giving us the imagery of it as a way to engage us. And we get this moment where she's sharing how she immediately felt this pressure. She describes how, of course, during her childhood, she thought about what her wedding would be like. I like this writer's choice to use two paragraphs to introduce. She moved from what she used to think about throughout her whole life to the real moment. And so she broke the paragraph there because she was changing time, which is a good reason to break paragraphs. And she ends her second paragraph with her thesis, which is my acquiescence to the quintessential big American wedding was usually followed by a few gems of well meaning, unsolicited advice. Americans make similar fateful nuptial decisions as a function of our commitment to both the past and the future. So she's going to explain why Americans make decisions about their nuptials in similar ways that she did. Why do Americans love big weddings? So we know that each paragraph is going to revolve around explaining a reason or a function of this. Her first body paragraph starts with a description of how she was raised, and it moves into the fact that she was raised to value marriage led to an emphasis on making the wedding a big deal to prove that her marriage was legit, to prove its legitimacy. So she actually puts the topic sentence at the end. By putting more money forward, I could send the signal that my husband and I were serious in our intentions. This was no irresponsible spur of the moment Vegas elopement in a dollar store veil, right? She made a connection between what I'm spending on my wedding is connected to how much I'm valuing my marriage, which my upbringing told me I need to do. And so that is the first reason for big weddings that she explains or exposes. Um, She goes into self-centered reasons for shelling out cash. So she changes paragraphs because she's going into a new reason. This paragraph is quite good because the new emphasis on our personal brand to look good and our emphasis on social media creates more pressure to have a big wedding. This this whole each visual choice, dress, decorations, invitations, flowers, table settings needed to be part of a cohesive whole. Nothing could appear cheap lest it reflect poorly on me. Um, Now, she also has in here some research, and I don't want you to put research in your first draft. This essay was this student's first essay, and then later on she added research. So don't try to put research in your first draft at this point. Just focus on how this essay is. You could take the research out of it, and the essay is still very successful. And then her last reasoning was. Her last reason is I honed in on an indirect way to prove I still cared. I sheepishly hoped the extravagance would say what I could not. So the idea was I throw this wedding to maintain some traditions in my family, and it's another way in which I prove myself. And she connects that to some observations she has about millennials. She's a millennial herself, and then she concludes with not just summarizing what she already said, but the implications. After she explained all these reasons she had big weddings, the audience is naturally wondering, well, how do you feel about it now? Do you think it was a good decision? And she said, so was it worth it? Is the question she imagines the audience asking itself after she's read so far. And she does a great job in tying up, not repeating what she said, but tying up her ideas and leaving us at this spot that, the big wedding was worth it. Will you be having a big wedding? Was there quick and understay of asking, will you choose to carry on the traditions I have carried? And so I have, for better or worse, for richer or poor. She plays, of course, off that idea of the actual vows of the marriage are, in a way, vows to her family, and the big wedding was part of that vow. So it does do a good job of wrapping it up. This writer used a lot of I throughout it, but you won't find you. She uses a lot of we because she's using herself as a model of, the reasons I picked a big wedding are also the reasons many Americans do. So that's how it's about the topic and not about her. It's not a personal essay. Why did I pick a big wedding? But rather how my choices reflect reasons many Americans do this. And it's explaining the phenomenon of big weddings. So this paper is very successful in that way. It also has great voice. She has great description. You can see this right here. Of course, I had imagined my ceremony here and there ever since I was a little girl, but it was always in a fuzzy, dreamlike sort of way. What a great description of imagining something now. It's fuzzy and dreamlike, right? In my own head, I could swap out the trimmings and trappings with ease. And then she describes two different styles that she imagined. Flowing fabrics and lit candles, or Art Deco, which would have cut angles and instead of candles, Edison bulbs, right? So she's not just saying, "Hey, I imagine different styles." She's not just telling us that; she shows us with great details that help us feel, know, and believe the point that she's trying to make. So read this a couple times even to really get a sense of it, and then use it as a model. What she does about her topic, you can do about your topic, and that's what writers do. That's why writers are readers. You're constantly looking at models, and you're thinking about, oh, I saw how that writer did that. That might influence the way I do something. And I want you to recognize this connection in between reading and writing.